Butch and Bob Show.
World famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. And Bob, let's go ahead and get to our guest on our phone this morning.
It's Tuesdays with Tillery. We got State Senator Blake Tillery on the phone with us. The legislative session winding down. Lots been done the last couple of days. Tort reform got passed. Looks like it's going to the governor's desk. Also, show me the money. Going to send us more money. Georgians getting some tax rebate monies and $250 million for the federal prison system. So a lot going on in Atlanta. Blake, glad you're with us. Give us your thoughts on what's took place the last several days.
Yeah, today's day, legislative day 35, Bob. So it's that time when you're tired of being here, you're ready to be home. So that's not always a bad thing. We've got, I think, about 8 or 9 bills on the floor today. Most of them deal with things related to little changes with the tax code update, and the IRS tax code is one of the smaller ones. There's some changes to the film tax credit that I'm not sure if I support yet or not. And then there's a few other things. One of them, you've heard about a bill that bans kids under 8th grade and under, from having cell phones in the classroom. I think a lot of teachers support it. Parents are kind of iffy sometimes on that, of whether or not they want to be able to reach their kids, but there's at least some studies that show that technology in the classroom might be a good thing, but cell phones in the classroom probably aren't. So that bill's going to be on the Senate floor today. That might get more discussion than others. It doesn't include high schoolers anymore. This one's just 8th grade and below. But yeah, a lot of different topics, a lot of various issues. There's even one of the water resources bills is on the floor today. So water, taxes, and cell phones in schools, as you see it. It covers the gamut of things.
I don't think right now Wayne County allows cell phones in class. I mean, they take them, they leave them in their cars or locker, but I don't think they can take them in class.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the way I believe.
I know they did years ago, but I don't know
I
about
believe
now.
that's the policy at the high school. You got.
Well, I don't think they ought to be in the rooms anyway.
Yeah, I don't think they're in the rooms, but Wayne County High School. So
okay.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the policy. They can have them on school in their car or in their locker, but I don't think they can have them in class. So that's
we had a bill
interesting.
last week that fell. It won't be eligible until next year because of the timing of when it was filed. I signed on to it that would actually ban students or kids under the age of 14 from being on social media. I think social media is not only a pariah that folks no longer have any social skills, they're sitting next to each other texting instead of talking, but we've also got the evidence that shows, medical evidence that shows that it's really changing the way folks think and interact in a way that does not seem to be productive for society. But that'll be up next year. That's not on the floor today.
Someone just texted in, if cell phones are a policy, they don't go buy it. They do not go buy it. My kids send messages to me all day. So if it's the case where they can't take it into the classroom, they're not paying attention because they're sending mom or dad some text messages from what someone just sent in. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. We will.
What's on the table these last couple of days? I mean, I'm sure the budget's going to be passed, but like I said, tort reform, it looks like it got through. Anything that's still being debated that may or may not get through?
There's a lot that won't make it through until next year. 3 bills that I have, 2 are on committee hearings tomorrow. Remember, we were banning the state for paying for transgender surgeries. That's finally going to come up for a House hearing tomorrow, it looks like. So the House has been a little slower on that one. Then the bill that I had that banned, took away the sovereign immunity from local governments if they weren't following Georgia immigration laws, if they weren't enforcing immigration holds, if they weren't, if they were declaring themselves to be sanctuary cities, they would lose their sovereign immunity. That bill, it looks like it's finally going to get a committee hearing in the House tomorrow as well. So will those bills make it all the way through? I don't know. I'd probably venture to say at least one of them will not. But they are finally moving in the House after coming to the Senate pretty quickly. You mentioned tort reform, yeah, that passed on Friday. And then the budget, that's been killing my time, obviously. We were up here till midnight several times, past midnight several times this week. Last night we left a little early. We left about 7 o'clock, 7:30.
I mentioned y'all look like zombies when you're leaving about midnight, don't you?
In a weird way, the budget keeps you awake because there's so many moving parts.
Wow.
That you can't sleep. For me at least, I go back to my little tiny bedroom here that I keep during session, and stare at the ceiling for another 2 hours thinking, well, if we move this here, does this make it easier for Georgians to support their families? If we move that there, does that make it easier for state law enforcement officers to enforce our laws? So I can't, when I go home, even if we leave at midnight, I'm going to be up another 2 hours trying to think through how we can do it better and continue to reduce the tax burden on our citizens.
Good.
I'm curious, you're a person who works with the budget all the time. We just had a report, Georgia's sitting on an $11 billion surplus, also a separate $5.5 billion rainy day fund. Can you just dip into that anytime you want to get some money if you need it?
No, it's not quite that simple. So you know that we roll back.
How's that work?
Well, yeah, if you want to go to lunch today, let me know, Bob. I got No,
I just wonder if you could, since you're in charge of the budget, you got all that surplus money. I just wonder if you have any access to it. I was just curious.
Well, remember the surplus monies are one time. So the state's budget overall right now is $37 billion. It's higher than it has been. But one of the reasons why it's higher than it has been is we quit bonding for the past 2 years. So it's $1 billion higher because we had been floating $1 billion bond package for schools, university buildings, roads and bridges. We're not doing that anymore. We're paying for that in cash each year, which we're doing that because we can, and we're saving Georgians, at least this year, about 6.5% interest over the next 20 years. So that account is coming down. It's coming down because of how we're trying to use the cash instead of going to debt. Georgia's debt is around 3% of our total budget. I mean, we're sitting at a much different level than what you see at the federal level, and our debt payments are nil compared to them. And again, we're only bonding capital projects. Georgia's budget still has to be balanced, but even over the past 2 years, we've bonded nothing at all. That's actually a debate up here right now. There's some folks who would think we ought to spend more. I'm not in that camp. I'm not in the camp of spending more. So sometimes my battles aren't necessarily, there's nothing you can see from them. You can't see, oh yeah, we've done this now with that money. What you're seeing on my end is that we're not doing it in order to continue to roll back income tax or do what we did last week, which would provide $1 billion in tax refunds to folks who paid it in.
Right. We had a story about that. Again, rebates, income taxes for the third consecutive year under House Bill 111, which passed by a unanimous 52-0 vote. The rebates will send up to $250 back to individual taxpayers. Single people who are head of their households could get $375, and married couples get back up to $500. Is that guaranteed? Has that already been approved, or does that still has to be approved when the budget gets passed?
That has to be signed by the governor, but everything else has been approved with it already. The lines for that were in the amended budget that have already passed and been signed by the governor. So, I mean, it was I know he's going to sign that bill. If I'm certain of anything, he's going to sign that one. So that will begin to go back. And remember also, some folks have called me in the past and said, I didn't get my $500. Well, there's a reason why. It's only for those who've paid in. It's not a credit. It's not a credit on top of it. So if you didn't pay in taxes, you're not going to get back those taxes, which I think is a good policy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. If you hadn't paid in, why,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not the COVID
I agree
money
with that.
anymore. Yeah,
but it's nice
why should you get back if you haven't paid in? I agree with that.
Though the people paid in are going to get some of it back. Like I said, the governor said it's your money, not the taxpayer or not the government's money. So anyway,
right. So if somebody sees they got, let's say, $378 back, and they can't figure out why it wasn't $500 or $250 like we talked about, then their taxes paid in was probably $378 because you can get the refund up to the amount you paid in. But if you didn't pay in more than $500, then you're not gonna get the full $500.
Okay.
So how many days left in this session? 5 days,
including today's 6. Today's day 35,
days.
so 6 days left.
6 days left.
As you know, this will take us till April the 4th. This weekend will most likely be, if we can get the budget off the floor from the Senate side by Friday, then we will probably be conferencing most of the weekend. And I know that I'm at least going to head home Friday afternoon. I've got a little 3-year-old with a t-ball game, and that's going to take priority from the budget. So. And then last week, we talked about the kickball game. Let me tell you how it went.
Yeah, let's hear about this kickball game. You can still walk, Blake?
The Senate got blasted. We won the past 3 years in a row, and we got blasted. And let me tell you, I understood that I am no longer 20 years old.
Now, who did you play against? Who played it? It was the House versus the Senate. Was that it?
the House versus the Senate,
Yeah.
and so the legislators are out there, and they whipped our tail. They beat us like 11-3 or something like that. So
Whoa.
they got us back for the past 3 or 4 years of us,
Was
stomping
there
them a little bit.
was there any Blake Tillery highlights? Will we see anything on YouTube from you being a hero or
Yeah,
something?
I licensed that out, so I had to had to pay a licensing fee to get those. No, no, more Blake Tillery embarrassments. I think Blake Tillery realizing he's 41, not 21. That's what it was. So
Again, well, I'm sure we'll talk to you next Tuesday. Again, always good to talk to you. I guess are you getting bombarded still with people, constituents texting you? And the last time you talked, you told how many text messages you have on your phone. Is that still increasing by the day?
it is not so much constituents. I have to respond to those. All the folks who have. I mean, we're looking right now. Today's 555. So, but unanswered messages right now. But that's mainly because it's not constituents. They get responded to relatively quickly. I mean, you got a $37 billion budget. Everybody wants something, and a lot of times we have to say no. So that requires multiple other texts where they're asking for yes. But again, we're not spending my money. We're spending your money. So we have to be prudent about it.
Okay.
One final thing, we had the story about the prisons, $250 million. You think that's going to help? I didn't realize there was that scathing report out there talking about how there's cruel and unusual punishment going on in the prisons, a lot of problems. So do you think the money will, sometimes money doesn't solve a problem, but do you think that'll help?
Remember, we've been working on this for years, but intently budget-wise, even before session in January, the governor rolled out the corrections budget first, which was unheard of. He never rolls out budgets before he presents the full budget to the legislature. There's going to be some things in the Senate's budget that continue to address issues we've had at corrections. One being we've got to find some space to be able to do improvements. You can't work on a prison while you've got prisoners in it. And we've got a significant issue with the number of locks not working, which is just unacceptable in a prison. So working there, we've also got some staffing issues that we have caused ourselves and we need to resolve. I think we're moving in the right direction there. And then retention for the first time. I want to commend the department. Retention seems to be up for the first time. There's still a lot to be done. It's not a job that I would want, and so I don't want to take away and be condemning the folks who are doing it. They've got a very difficult job working with a very difficult population. But again, there are some things we probably can do better, and we want to be in a position to utilize technology where necessary to do so.
Okay, well, stay safe in Atlanta.
Appreciate it, guys.
Look forward to
Thank
your
you,
girls'
Blake.
T-ball game. I'm sure that's going to be, like I said, a lot more fun than working on the budget.
I'm gonna make that T-ball game. You
All
guys
right.
enjoy the good weather down there. It's not comfortable up here. It's still cold.
Yeah,
We've got some warmer temperatures.
Weather's been nice down here the last couple of days, that's for sure.
All right, Blake.
Well, I look forward to seeing you soon.
Take care. All right, State Senator Blake Tillery here on Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO 105.5 FM in 105.5 FM in Jesup. And we do appreciate State Senator Blake Tillery calling in this morning here on the world famous Butch and Bob show here on WIFO. Yeah, you can hear it in their voices as each week goes by. It gets a little more tired because you're up there, you're working hard, you're going from early in the morning to close to midnight every day trying to get all this done and do the right stuff and try to do all the compromising the legislators have to do to get a bill passed and get their projects in there. So hats off to them. Just glad that there's folks that are willing to serve and do that kind of work.
Well, and like he said, he's in charge. He's one of those main people involved in that budget. And like I said, he's got all these people. Everybody wants money.
Everybody wants to show me the money. It's always about the money.
I imagine that is hard to look some people in the eye and say, nope, you're not getting any money.
Yeah.
You get money. I guess he feels like Oprah sometimes. You get money, you get but you don't get money. But, I imagine his phone rings off the hook. Because all the different agencies, all the different organizations that are seeking money.
Everybody wants a piece of the pie.
Everybody wants their money. But he has to, like I said, he has to be the man that says, not happening this year, maybe next year.
Yeah, I remember back I'm 70 now, but back when I was, even in my mid to late 20s, me and my brother-in-law at the time were playing some pickup sandlot football with some teenagers, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. We were playing with them, and we're in our mid-20s, so we're still what we consider young. But those teenage boys were running all over us. Mickey and I were just about to die out there. We were looking for the oxygen, and then when you get 40, that's when your body really starts changing, when you get 40 and above. So it was interesting that Blake Tillery said that he found out that he's not 21 anymore. He's 41, and he can feel it when you're out there doing that physical activity, especially when you're not doing it every day.
Kickball. That's a good sport.
Yeah, I played that in Jacksonville at elementary schools down there. I don't think I've played it since then in terms of school activities. I may have played it, in the backyard with friends and stuff like that, or front yard, or whatever the case may be. But I hadn't played kickball in forever. I mean, we're talking about 1960s here, folks. And you played kickball, didn't you say, in elementary school?
Oh, yeah, we played it all the way up. Yeah, that was a big sport growing up.
They never played it in high school. We never played it here at Wayne County High School, though.
Never played organized. It was always neighborhood kickball.
It was always neighborhood kids. You had the kickball, and, it was a bunch of fun. Yeah. All right, Bob, you'll be traveling up to Savannah today. Is that correct?
Back to Savannah, New Hampstead. Start that series today. 3-game series. 2 games in Savannah, 1 game here. The game here is Thursday. Again, we got a non-region game tomorrow against Glen Academy. It's a busy week. 4 games on the schedule this week for the baseball team. So today, tomorrow at home, Thursday at home, and Friday back on the road. So
right.
We'll see what New Hampstead looks like, though. I hadn't heard.
Have you heard anything?
I heard they're not very good.
Okay, New Hampstead today. And then, as you mentioned, tomorrow is going to be a non-region game. That's going to be against Glen Academy here in town.
That'll be a good ball game.
That will be a good ball game right there in New Hampstead on Thursday here. And then on Friday, back in Savannah against New Hampstead. So today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, 4 games in a row, Bob. And we will not be airing the game on Thursday when New Hampstead is here. Because it's the opening day of Braves baseball there in San Diego. And usually when they play San Diego, you think, well, they're going to be a nighttime game. Well, no, they got a midday game there in San Diego. It'll be a 1:10 first pitch for them, 4:10 for us on Thursday as the Braves begin their 2025 season. So we'll have that on leadoff show around 3 o'clock with first pitch at 4:10. Now on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it'll be all night games. But they'll start off first pitch at 4:10 this Thursday. Braves baseball right here on 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country, WIFO. Our 55th season in a row of bringing Braves baseball to Southeast Georgia. Looking forward to another year. And we'll get the Braves schedules. We're getting them out today and tomorrow. Got a bunch of Braves schedules to get out that you can use. It's a pocket schedule. You just fold it up. I've got one in my wallet already. So you can just pull it out and see, who the Braves are playing, when, where, that kind of good stuff like that. And it's interesting to keep up with the Braves because they have all kinds of promotions going on all year long for home games. They got bobbleheads. They got this. They got that. So you can always keep it up with it on the Braves website there and see what kind of promotion they got going on, which maybe you can get free when you walk through the gate.
I still remember the joke when the Braves weren't doing good. Just go Braves and take the Falcons with you. That used to be an old saying years ago.
Yeah, back in the late 80s, if you had a group of maybe 30 that would want to go up and see a Braves game, you say, we need 30 tickets to a Braves game this coming weekend. What time is the game? And they said, well, what time can you be here?
And then they had the joke, if you get a traffic ticket, they'd leave 2 tickets to the Braves game with you as well. It's like a courtesy. Please go.
Go to the game. Somebody's got to go. But then, boy, that all changed in the early 90s, like 91. 91 is when it all changed, and it's been hot ever since then. So, go Braves. Starting this Thursday. Looking forward to another great season.
Yeah. It's going to be good to get Ronald Acuna back in that lineup in mid-April. Like I said, he's been rehabbing ever since that injury when he lost all of last year. So it'd be nice to have him back in that Braves lineup. hopefully he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Some players just, they're injury prone.
They
just,
are. One reason or another. They just,
always seem to be on the DL for some reason. So it's a long season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, long season. Starts now, don't get through the end of September. 6 months of baseball. The boys of summer are back here in spring. And I think you mentioned that the Sweet 16 has been set in the girls' bracket in the NCAA tournament. Is that correct?
Both are down to the Sweet 16, men's and women's bracket. So all 4 seeds in both men's and women's are still alive. So, but USC lost a key part of their team, their star guard.
Oh, Juju.
Yeah, that's a sad story. But
Achilles, something like that.
It's bad. You can see it when she came down. You just knew it was bad. So unfortunately, it's a season-ending injury. So they've lost her for the rest of the tournament. So if you got USC in your women's bracket, you might be wishing you didn't.
Yeah, the women's bracket. Yep. Yes, sir. So who does your team play next? One that you picked, not your team, but the team that you picked to win, Florida. I see Auburn plays.
Florida's playing Maryland.
Florida's playing Maryland.
I believe that's who they got this week.
All right.
This Thursday. They ought to roll past them. Like I said, UConn gave them everything they wanted. UConn, a 2-time defending national champion in men's basketball, looking for the three-peat.
That's just the South there.
Didn't get it. So Auburn plays Michigan. Houston plays Purdue. Let's see. Florida plays Tennessee and Kentucky play. Ole Miss meets Michigan State. Arkansas Texas Tech. Who's the Florida game? No, I got it somewhere.
Yep.
I believe it's Maryland.
Okay. All right.
Yep, Maryland. Alabama plays BYU. Gators meet Maryland. Duke plays Arizona. Arkansas plays Texas Tech. Those are Thursday games. And Friday, Ole Miss plays Michigan State. Kentucky, Tennessee play for a third time. And Auburn plays Michigan. And Houston plays Purdue. The guy from Michigan State has always got his team in Sweet 16. They're always tough. They're a 2 seed. So I said of the 16 teams, I'd say 8 or 9 could still win it all. If you and it's wide open this year, I think.
You said that Duke is favored. I thought it was Auburn that was favored going in since they were number 1 seed, but now it's Duke.
Duke's been favored. They got the flag. They got that star player. He's unbelievable. He got hurt in the ACC tournament, but luckily his ankle wasn't badly. It was just a sprain. He was able to come back, but most people will say Duke's the favorite to win it all.
All right. Okay.
The Duke Blue Devils, but I got them in the championship game.
Who's their coach now? After Coach K, I don't know who their coach is. You know?
It's a young guy.
Young guy?
Forward, I think.
Okay, where'd he come from?
I
can't remember the history of it.
I think he's played or he's got some connection with Duke.
Okay. Did you see that?
Mike Krzyzewski found him for him.
Did you see that sorority student for University of Georgia who got arrested the other day for speeding, and she had that great mug shot, and people thought it was Miss America that got.
I missed that.
You missed that?
I missed that.
Oh, come on, Bob! It's been anywhere and everywhere. You said last week, early last week, a UGA student, a sorority sister, got arrested for speeding twice.
How
in the
fast
next
was she going?
Over 15 miles an hour over the speed limit, which is but she got arrested. She got stopped for speeding, got a ticket. A few minutes later, she got stopped for speeding again. Just a few minutes later, so they arrested her, and they took her mugshot. When in her mugshot, she looks like she's posing for a magazine. She's a gorgeous young girl, and she had this big smile on her face. And people say, "Oh, they've arrested Miss America," and all this kind of stuff like that. Well, she's back arrested again a couple of days ago for not speeding. It's more serious charges. Now, the charges does not tell you what she did. It just has the charges on there, like, obstruction or this, that, or the other. So here it is. She goes off and gets arrested for speeding, and then, gets a ticket for speeding, then gets another ticket a few minutes later, driving too excessively. I don't know how fast she was going. If you get pulled over a ticket, what do normal people do when they get pulled over and get a ticket for speeding? You don't dare go 1 mile an hour over the speed limit. Not this girl. She got back into her car and went even faster over the speed limit and got pulled over again and got arrested, but got this great-looking mugshot. I mean, she's gorgeous, And the thing about it is most people's mugshot, they look bad. All right, she had this big grin, smile on her face, like she was in a pageant or something like that, and she got very famous about that. But now she's gotten arrested again there in Athens for, I don't know why, but it's a lot more serious. A lot more serious.
She's that good looking. I can't believe she got a ticket. Most officers.
Well, she didn't the first time, but the second time, maybe that's the case. When you're that good looking, a lot of times you get away with stuff.
She's going to talk her way out of it, huh?
No, she couldn't talk her way over. She got arrested the second speeding because she was way over the speed limit then. Plus, she had just got a ticket a few minutes earlier, and now she's done something else, Bob. And I don't know. I don't have all the details on it, but it's just strange. It's just very strange. I mean, she kind of enjoyed the publicity. She kind of enjoyed the publicity from the speeding ticket thing and what everybody was saying, and and they had arrested Miss America, and and then just all this kind of stuff like that. And then she goes off and gets arrested again for more serious charges. And from the charges that they had on the news story, I could not tell what she had done because the charges could, you didn't have the details. You didn't have the details of it. So I don't know what it is, and so that's just
making her parents.
I can't believe that. I wonder where her parents are saying.
That's what I'm saying. Making her parents proud, I bet.
Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. Sometimes when you're very attractive like that, you can get away with a little bit more in life than some other people can. But she did get arrested for the second time speeding, and she got arrested again. And so it'll be interesting to see how all that turns out and find out the details on exactly what in the world did she do this time.
That's a bad thing about cell phones. In the old days, you got 3 tickets, nobody would know it because nobody could see it.
No.
Now you get a ticket, everybody can see it.
Everybody can see it. And of course, they got all those sites you can go to that where people get arrested.
Right.
Some people there's apps for that you can take a look at and see everybody arrested in your area. And but she got on there and got the publicity because she's so attractive. Plus, her mugshot was so good looking. I mean, she looked like she was posing for a magazine. Big hair was done well, big smile on her face. I mean, you wouldn't think that she was just got arrested from the way that she looked in the picture. It's just, and then she goes off and gets arrested again for some other charges that are more serious. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now with this case. I can't believe you hadn't seen that. You need to look it up, Bob. You need to look it up. This is a co-ed at University of Georgia. Yes, sir. Doing wrong things there in Athens. We had 2 football players that got suspended by Coach Kirby for speeding there in Athens. What is it with the Georgia athletes out there? Why have you got to speed? I mean, it's crowded enough in Athens. You can't really speed much there all, but I guess they are.
Just don't even, Kirby's birthday, how many times I got to give that same lecture. I mean, he's had that lecture over and over with players, but
yeah,
unfortunately they don't heed the advice and heed the speech, so it's kind of sad.
It is sad, yeah. You just, you get the speech, you're being a football player, you're going to get a lot more publicity than just any old average Joe or Joe or Joanne out there that gets arrested for speeding or gets a speeding ticket.
Like they say all the time, though. I mean, you can do a hard line. You can step in and say the next one that does it is kicked off the team, but they haven't done that.
And they'll go on the transfer portal. It's
true.
Not like the old days.
I understand, but when's enough? So
Yeah. All right, Bob. Anything else going on?
No, just headed to fight those sand gnats again down at New Hampstead, so it should be fun.
All right. I know I've heard, and we got people text in stuff, and you've heard stuff, all these home remedies of keeping the sand gnats off. You just got to pick which one. Yeah. Good luck.
How about an indoor stadium?
Yeah, right. All right, Bob. Have a safe trip to Savannah for the Wayne County baseball game taking on New Hampstead in Savannah. Wayne County baseball beginning at 5:50 this afternoon here on 105.5 FM, and first pitch at 6 o'clock. You can listen to the game here on 105.5 FM. We'll stream it live down our website at bigdogcountry.com. Just click on live stream, and you can listen to it. We'll send it down on our YouTube channel. Just like the morning show here on WIFO, 3 ways you can get it: 105.5 FM, Big Dog Country live stream, and click on our YouTube channel, then click on the morning show here on WIFO. It's all right there worldwide. World famous Butch and Bob show brought to you by Heron Aldridge Insurance, by the Service Department of GNS Auto Sales, by Murphy Builder Supply, and by First Southern Bank.